Nothing we say is investment advice. Please pause on all 3 pages of this disclaimer and read it.
All right, good morning, everybody. Cowboy here, and it is Wednesday, the 5th of February, and we're going to take a look here at the market. It looks like some data just came out that is going to actually push the markets just a little bit upward, and that is going to be Bitcoin included, which means that the little trade that I took yesterday, I took like a quarter-size position trade, just a small short. Looks like that may get stopped out. So we'll see about that. I know I did think price would make its way back down to 90,000, and I think it may very well. And I haven't stopped out yet, so we'll see what happens. But as it stands right now, the new data that just came out, the what do we have? Non-farm employment that appears to be making the dollar a little bit weaker. And I guess that's showing. Let me see here. Actually, that's interesting. It should be making the dollar stronger, but if you look at the charts, it's making it look a little bit weaker. So that's an interesting look. Things moving opposite to how they should. It may just be that the news was not big enough to do anything and money came back into the market. We do have more data coming out actually in hour and a half. What do we have? ISM. So purchasing managers index. So that might move the markets a little bit at that time. For the moment, though, to back out and take a look at Bitcoin, things are looking just a little funky on the higher time frame. It looks like Bitcoin does need to pull back and reset a bit before it moves up. So despite any miniature kind of low time frame moves wagging back and forth, I do expect Bitcoin to make its way down to 90,000 still, which is the bottom of this month's long consolidation. 90,000 is where it likes to go. Good morning, Cool Cat. Thanks for joining. So at the moment, though, price could just wag a little bit. It could even go as high as 100,000. And there's a couple ways to look at this consolidation, but mostly the bound is between about 90,000 and 102. And price has gone up to get to 102 a few times and come back down, as it did, I believe, yesterday. After this kind of pretty big V-shaped little mini recovery after the big move down that occurred with the trade, the tariffs, and all that. And of course, the effect of the tariffs is more or less, at least the shock of the tariffs has more or less worn off, because Bitcoin went all the way down to 90,000, made its way all the way back up to 102, that range that we're talking about that goes back to this rectangle right here that is between 23rd January and 12th November. And now it appears that price may go back and forth within that until it doesn't. Now, there is a look in the charts like price might dip a little bit further, but until price goes below 90, I wouldn't worry too much about it. But if it does, I know 88,000 and 83,000 are suspect. We'll take a very brief look at the liquidity here, the liquidations. And most of the liquidations are a little bit higher than price. So if price were to simply follow the liquidations, it would go up and probably grab about 99,500 before it did anything else. And if the algos are even slightly bullish, then there is a chance that will happen. And I am showing a little bit of a crook upwards on the 3 hours. So there's a decent chance price will dip just a little bit higher, grab that liquidity that when I did this trade was not there yesterday, but that is the nature of things. And again, that's why I took just a quarter-sized position. And when I took that trade, I told everybody at Algo Factory that it was a very small position, and that if it did pop back up, then I might be ready to go ahead and grab the short when it occurs again. So that is that. Let's take a quick look at Solana. Of course, more or less following Bitcoin. The move down to Solana was a bit more brutal, though. Solana is more volatile than Bitcoin, and therefore it's going to move in a stronger way up and a stronger way down for the most part. So let's go ahead and take a look at how this might go. We had a move down to 173, went all the way back up to 220, and now it's just ranging. And the range data here is not quite as clean with Solana as it is with other tokens, or say with Bitcoin, right? But we do seem to have an upper bound of about 220 and a lower bound sitting around 170, 173, something like that. And the volatility is actually kind of fallen off a cliff for Solana. It looks like Solana is going to take a break and wait for the rest of the market to do something. As you can see, Bitcoin is also taking its break, and the rest of the week is going to be pretty mild when it comes to data coming out that can move markets. You have some British things happening tomorrow in their afternoon. And then you do have the unemployment claims as they happen every Thursday, 8:30 a.m. EST. Some more British happenings later in their evening. And then we have Friday has Canadian data in the morning, their employment data, and then some other employment items from the US on Friday. So those should add some volatility to the market. But as it stands, the market's pretty quiet. And this is pretty typical for January, maybe early February, early quarter one. You see kind of where things calm down, the market stays quiet, and then the Ides of March Madness happens. McMicko, thanks for coming on in, mate. So yeah, that's that for Bitcoin and Solana. I'm going to take a brief look at the indices because they are actually dictating a lot of what happens across all markets, right? So like the SP 500, what happens here is going to affect Bitcoin and everything else in a big way. So right now, things like I mentioned are calming down. We had the big move down due to, all the tariff news, and then all that stuff resolved pretty quickly as Canada and Mexico bent the knee and went ahead and agreed to demands. Because basically, to put it very simply, Mexico and Canada need to sell their goods more than the US needs to buy them. It's as simple as that. Now, tariffs over a long period of time, they can start to wear off in a certain way, and it all depends how the negotiations go after that. But so far, the tariffs have been needed as a short-term solution, and then they have been retracted as the other countries make agreements. Now, small tariffs were put on China, and I don't know what has happened with those. I believe those tariffs are still in play, and they have put tariffs on us. And, those types of smaller tariffs are not too different than the tariffs that already exist. So I doubt they're going to affect things greatly. US and China have a lot of business. So I don't expect right now, just as things stand at the moment, I don't expect there to be any major problems, any major trade wars, but you never know. Things happen. China holds a lot of power, and really they can make problems for the US and vice versa. And I think too much money is made between the two of them to want to disturb too much business. Now, with the ES1, which is the SP 500 futures, it does look like things are going to remain calm for the moment. These indices tend to be bullish on the high time frame. They tend to go up over time. But if you look at this chart, and this is the daily chart. In fact, I'm going to go to the weekly. You'll see that price tends to just go up, but then you get these pullbacks that last for a few weeks. And the current pullback is only a week or two old, and the average pullback seems to be anywhere from 3 to maybe 8 weeks. You get some deeper pullbacks that happened back in January 2022, and that happened around the time of the Ukraine operation invasion, however you want to say it, and that pullback lasted the better part of a year. So it could be that we just get one of these more typical month-long pullbacks, and that's fine. I don't expect much to happen in markets for a little while, and that's okay. That's a great time to look for opportunities in Forex, which is where I trade most of the time. Brief look here at the Dow. Same kind of thing. Looks a little bit stronger than the NASDAQ, but as it stands on the lower time frame here, I think the Dow is also going to remain calm. Same as the NASDAQ. For the moment, everything seems to be finding an equilibrium, and will probably not do a whole lot until either there's some kind of a shock or until the markets pick up again for the year. So I've been better at predicting these indices than just about anything else all year. Although my Forex, I don't know, I'm pretty good at all of it. And then there's times when, shocks happen and the predictions go out the window, and that's just trading for you. Gold at an all-time high. You can see here that I had predicted that it would go to all-time highs, and that it did. It just took about a week longer than I thought it would. But more or less, the predictions have been on. And as you may have noticed, there was no Sunday video, and that is because things were insane. I had a lot going on personally over the weekend, and on top of that, the all of the tariffs and the trade war and this and that and the other, the one-day trade war that just, pretty much ended very quickly. All that stuff made things so uncertain that trying to predict anything was kind of a waste. And so I went ahead and left that up. Left that open to, hey, let's see what happens on Monday. So yeah, I did that on purpose. That was a conscious decision. But gold and silver, bullish. Silver right now above a key area above 32. So I get the feeling we won't see silver go much higher. And if it does go much higher and it stays high, then look out. Silver could pop off if that's the case. But I get the feeling that gold may continue and silver may continue, but silver may also not continue. That's kind of where I'm at with those things. So I'm going to hop over to the private live lab. I want to thank everybody for coming on today for the Algo Factory Live Lab. We have algofactory.tech. We teach people how to predict markets. We teach people how to trade. And anytime that you can predict market movements, right? Anytime you can predict where price is going, then you can basically make money. I mean, it's as simple as that. And as you can see, I'm a lot more correct than I am incorrect. And that's all you got to be. No one's going to be right all the time. But I do show you how I do this, and I help you develop your own method, and I teach you the ins and outs of the business of trading, because that's the key thing. Trading psychology, operations, money management, that's the stuff that makes traders. Having a really good method is important, and I help you build your own, and there's some very important aspects to doing that. If you want to know more about it, want to come on, learn how to do it, come on over to algofactory.tech. We are going to double the price, and very soon. That's just like any day now, that's going to happen. But if you get in at the current price of $49.99, you will be able to have that price grandfathered in as long as you don't let your membership lapse. So please come on over and never forget.
Join us or die.